I am the good shepherd. This is another of those I am statements that Jesus makes here in John. And this actually goes with the one we looked at the last time I was doing an invitation. This is a continuation of that conversation he's having with the Pharisees. But I was trying to separate these and do these one at a time because it just seemed like that would fit for an invitation. So this is another one of those statements. He says that here in John chapter 10. You'll see it right here in verse 11. And let's see, he was referring to himself last time as the door to the sheep, or the door, the door, I am the door, or I am the door to the sheep. He said it two different ways, just saying that he is the gate into and out of the kingdom, right? And he's protecting the sheep. And here he's continuing along in that same vein. So if we read these verses 11 through 16, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd gives his life for the sheep, but a hireling, he who is not the shepherd, one who does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees, and the wolf catches the sheep and scatters them. The hireling flees because he is a hireling and does not care about the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and I know my sheep, and am known by my own. As the Father knows me, even so I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And other sheep I have which are not of this fold, them also I must bring, and they will hear my voice, and there will be one flock and one shepherd. And there's probably a lot of different lessons you can get out of these verses, but I just want to look at two things, one main thing and then just a little thing at the end. The main difference being between the good shepherd and the hireling. The fact that we should know the difference, right, between the good shepherd and a hireling. Jesus, the good shepherd, is the only one we should be following. Now, this is not in any way to put down, because we talk about hireling, we think about people getting paid. This is not in any way to put down good preachers or anything like that. But this is a little bit of a warning for us to make sure that we're following the good shepherd and watching out for these that he would describe as just hirelings. They are not faithful. They are just there for the money, right? The minute they see trouble, they're like, you don't pay me enough to do this. I'm out of here, right? And we've seen that in this congregation where people will just leave when there's trouble. And they never come back. And that's too bad, but it does happen. So we need to make sure that we can distinguish between Jesus and his good representatives and these hirelings, these people who are really just in it for whatever selfish motive they have, or money. They're not really faithful, and when there's trouble, they abandon the sheep. So on the other hand, Jesus, as he says here that he's going to do, he has given his life for the sheep. He stands with the sheep, protecting and guiding the sheep, but he's given his life for the sheep as well, and we should follow that example. And then on my last little thought here, on the last verse 16, notice there that we are those sheep that were not of that fold at that time, but we are there now. There is one flock and there is one shepherd. Jesus is that shepherd, and Christians are that only flock. There's not anyone else. I know we respect, say like Jews and Judaism, but that's not going to get them to heaven. They have to accept Jesus. They have to follow Jesus, not anyone else, not anything else. So we have to realize how great we have it following Jesus. He is always with us. He's always looking after us. This life is always going to have trials and tribulations. That's the way this life is made. We're always going to have troubles. But with Jesus, because he is the good shepherd, we never face them alone. He's always with us. And he's always guiding us to safety if we will just pay attention, to what he tells us. He's always guiding us to safety, and he will never abandon us in any way. So just to close here, I want us to remember that we are the Lord's people. We're a part of that one flock. He cares about us. He loved us so much that he did give his life for us. He laid that down for us. And not in a simple, easy way. We need to always remember, he didn't die in a nice, simple way. Like, okay, and this isn't necessarily nice, but let's say if I stepped in front of a bullet and I died, well, that's kind of fast. Okay, you might do that. But he died in a very long, drawn-out, horrible way. I know. But that's just, just thinking about the difference there, You might, on impulse, do something to defend someone and get hurt. But he knew what was coming all the time, and he knew how bad it was going to be, and he did it anyway. You don't get any better than that. That's why he is the Good Shepherd. He laid down his life, and every step of the way, he knew what he was in for, where he was going. All along, he knew he was going to the cross. So that's a huge deal, a big difference. So we need to stay with him and follow him where he leads us to go. And if anyone here this evening needs to be baptized for salvation, remission of sins, or if there's anything, any prayers of the congregation that you would need, please do come forward and let it be known as we stand and sing.